continuación, de hecho ya ustedes ven ya en la pantalla la presentación que nos va a hacer el doctor Peter Lachman. El doctor Peter Lachman, CEO de ISQua, es también una de las personas que ha luchado desde su patria y en el medio internacional, también en el desarrollo de estos procesos. Ahora, digamos, desde su rol en ISQua, ha sido una persona importantísima, y además nosotros agradecemos muchísimo el apoyo y el soporte que ISQua nos ha dado en el desarrollo de nuestra actividad. Welcome, Dr. Lachman. It's an honor for us, health professionals from 12 Latin American countries and Spain and Andorra are attentive to listen to you. I appreciate very much your support. Go ahead, Dr. Lachman.
Okay, so firstly, thank you very much for inviting me to speak to you today. It's a great honor to speak to you. I'm in Dublin, and I'd like to congratulate you on your conference so far. Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to take you through a few things around ISQua, why we exist and what we are for. ISQua is an international society, as you know. We aim to inspire and drive improvement in healthcare, as it says on the slide, and to be the leader in transformation across the world. This is a big task for us, but we have members in many countries, over 80 countries around the world. Right now we have members, over 1,000 individual members.
El doctor dice que hay una nueva visión para la transformación de la salud y de la calidad de la salud, la calidad de atención del paciente. Esto se está haciendo a través de alrededor de todo el mundo. Y lo que nos va a explicar son los pasos y el proceso que se está haciendo para mejorar o para aumentar la calidad de atención en los pacientes que hay alrededor del mundo en cualquier país.
Okay, so the key thing about ISQua is that our vision is to really reach people around the world, and we do this in 3 ways. Firstly, we provide knowledge, and I'll show you how we do that. We build networks, and this is an example of working with a network. And more importantly, we give people a voice to share their experience. Sylvia.
Okay. Lo que se está haciendo es como una planeación a nivel inmediato y a nivel en futuro, después o durante la pandemia, a través de 3 redes. Un trabajo que tiene que ver con el conocimiento, con redes, y un trabajo con voz.
Okay, so what we do is we join together with people, mainly to look at how we can change the culture and how we can change practice while we change culture. Let me give you an example. In patient safety, in order for us to have safe healthcare, we need to change the way people think about patient safety and about healthcare. Sylvia.
Ok. Lo que se está trabajando, lo que se está haciendo es trabajar con las personas para hacer un cambio de mentalidad en lo que tiene que ver con la salud y con el cuidado de la salud que por estas circunstancias se está presentando. Es cambiar una forma de mentalidad de las personas en general a través del mundo, que se va a hacer con una serie de pasos. ¿Y cómo nos podemos unir para trabajar juntos, para cambiar la cultura? Y al cambiar la cultura se puede hacer una forma más fácil, o se puede lograr de una forma más fácil, perdón, ese cambio de actitud para la situación que se está presentando.
So let's start with knowledge. We believe that by giving people knowledge, we are empowering them for change. When I talk about knowledge, I'm talking about the providers of healthcare, the clinicians, the doctors, the nurses, and the receivers of healthcare, who we call patients. And if we give knowledge to both, then we have a chance of achieving safe, high-quality care. Sylvia.
Ok. Lo que se está haciendo es a través del conocimiento. El conocimiento nos da el poder a nivel médico, a nivel enfermeras y a nivel de todo el material, todas las personas que en salud están cuidando a los pacientes. Y eso va a hacer que a través del conocimiento se cambie la actitud de las personas y el personal médico.
Okay, so knowledge is power. Now, what has happened over the last 3 months is that we've had to spread knowledge very quickly about the COVID virus. And we now need to make it easy to spread knowledge so that we can spread knowledge in every region of the world. So, for example, as you're doing now across the whole of Latin America, and this is what is going to make change possible. Sylvia.
Okay. Hace 3 meses el conocimiento que se tenía sobre el virus era muy poco. En estos 3 meses se ha tenido que avanzar en el conocimiento sobre el virus, sobre la situación, de una forma muy veloz. Y esto ha permitido, con el conocimiento que se ha tenido día a día, mejorar la atención de la calidad centrada en cada paciente. O sea, tratar al paciente como persona, con una calidad que se merece ese paciente.
Now, what has happened that we have learned in the last 4 months, that knowledge has to be spread very quickly. And this is a quote from Don Berwick, which says that in the old days, we'd say it would take 17 years to spread knowledge from initial idea to actual patient benefit. However, nowadays, that is too long, and we have seen the rapid spread of knowledge, and this has happened in the last 3 months. We've seen the development of new ways of doing things very rapidly, and we in ISQua have to respond to this new world. Over you to Sylvia.
Ok. El conocimiento que se tiene sobre el virus ha sido en 4 meses de una forma muy, muy rápida. Se ha ido avanzando un poco, pero todavía falta algunas cosas por saber. Y ya que este tipo de conocimiento o este tipo de estudio puede durar muchos años, pero por la situación que he tenido que hacer después de inmediatamente. lo que se espera es que paso a paso se vaya aprendiendo un poco más de lo que es el virus, cómo funciona para poder ayudar mejor a los pacientes.
So how we responded with the COVID pandemic is that we established an information and resource page, and we gathered information and knowledge from around the world on the virus. And one of the examples is this one. This comes from Italy, as they had been the epicenter and had a lot of experience on COVID. So in March, as they were in the middle of their pandemic, our colleagues in Italy wrote the recommendations from their experience. We then had it translated into 5 languages: Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, English, and French, and made it available on our website. And I thank Ezequiel Eloy Garcia and his team in Buenos Aires, who translated the Spanish version, which is available. And this is aimed at spreading knowledge rapidly around the world. So there.
Okay. La asociación ha creado unos documentos desde marzo que se han estado aumentando, ya que ha habido más conocimiento sobre la forma de comportarse el virus. Estos documentos ya están disponibles en 5 idiomas: español, francés, inglés, portugués y no me acuerdo.
Italiano.
Italiano, perdón. Y estos documentos son para la seguridad del paciente, recomendaciones para la atención de los mismos durante el COVID-19, durante la epidemia del COVID-19. Y está disponible para las personas que lo quieran adquirir.
And this is a demonstration how ISQua can play a role internationally in spreading knowledge. We also had a series of webinars with experts in the field. Here you see one from the WHO and another one from Albert Wu and Chris van Hecht and Jose Mira from Spain on the emotional toll. And we had over 20 to 30 of these webinars spreading knowledge as rapidly as we can. Okay, so
okay. Estos documentos están escritos por personas que tienen información muy importante sobre el manejo de la calidad durante el COVID-19, y son personas que poseen los conocimientos para realizar este tipo de materiales y son conocidas por muchas personas.
So the next one where we go to is networks. Now in Latin America, we work with the COPLAC network, hosting webinars every month, and again with a team across the continent led by Ezequiel. But I'm going to show you 2 others that we do just to show our links. This is with the International Hospital Federation, in which we work very closely together. We both analyzed the need to have a joint response on COVID, and this is an example of building 2 networks together. And of course, they're also present in Latin America, so it has relevance to you all as well. Sylvia.
Okay. También se está haciendo un trabajo a través de la red para dar información de proteger tanto a los pacientes como a los trabajadores de la salud. la importancia de un trabajo en equipo multidisciplinario y se están dando también unas técnicas para innovación y agilidad para tener una respuesta efectiva en situaciones que se consideran críticas o para responder inquietudes que puedan presentarse.
And another one that we did was with the Plane Tree International, and this was to address the issues of person-centered care during pandemics. As you can see, this came out in June. We were one of the many bodies that consulted with Plane Tree because we were concerned how people were being treated when they had COVID, particularly the dying who were separated from their families, and the ability to have funerals and how this could be managed. So this is another example of working in networks. Sylvia.
Ok. Otra de las cosas que se están haciendo es que no solamente es importante la salud del paciente como tal, sino de su familia y de las personas que están cerca a él o al paciente. Y la fundación también presta ayuda y soporte a la familia o al personal que está con el paciente.
Okay, the next one is giving people a voice. And here is where we allow, through ISQua, for different people to talk about their experiences. And here an example of some of the writings on our website from around the world. And this one is there are ones from Jordan, from Pakistan, from the US, from other areas around the world, demonstrating the importance of sharing people's experience. So there.
Ok. También hay una serie de documentos o de lugares en la web donde las personas de diferentes lugares del mundo pueden contar sus experiencias y lo que están haciendo o lo que han hecho durante este tipo de cosas.
Now, let's look at the future. What does the future hold for ISQua in the new experience and world that we have, which is we can really define as pre-COVID and post-COVID? I think that's how we will be talking about healthcare in the future.
Okay.
So translate it, yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah, translate this.
Ok, ahora una de las cosas más importantes es qué va a pasar en el futuro con la pandemia y a dónde podemos llegar y qué podemos esperar.
So, we'll have to understand the complexity of healthcare to try to simplify to understand what we should do. The first will be the system complexity. We work in complex systems, and now we have more and more people with complex conditions. We then will need to look at the culture of this in the system, the individual's culture, how we think, and the system culture, because that will define how we behave. We will need to look at the individual processes and the human factors that make us work, because if we do look at that, we can be safer. And finally, what has taught, we'll have to look at resources, supply chains, the security, as well as how we access care. All of these factors in this complex world will need to be addressed looking forward based on our learning so far. Sylvia.
Ok. Lo que se está estudiando para en un futuro son los problemas complejos que se pueden presentar, problemas en los sistemas de salud, el acceso a los sistemas de salud, la seguridad del personal y la seguridad de los pacientes, qué recursos se obtienen y cuál es la cadena de suministro para ellos y qué procesos individuales se podrían realizar. Y lo más importante, qué factor humano se debería tener en cuenta para poder garantizar toda esa serie de situaciones que se podrán presentar, en un futuro.
So I'm speaking to people who are experts on Dunabedian, of the systems, processes, results. But for me, the most important part of this is the importance of inserting love and kindness into what we do going forward. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Okay.
No, excuse me.
You can go ahead.
No, continue.
Okay. So these are the way I view the future quality system that will define the processes. As you can see, the domains of quality of safety, effectiveness, efficiency, access, and equity are there. Normally, person-centered care would be one of the domains, but I think that it surrounds all the domains. I would also add a new one, which is eco-friendly or climate change, because I think that that is going to be a major area in which we need to work. Sylvia.
Okay. Lo más importante es el amor y la calidad humana en el tratamiento o en la calidad de atención en los pacientes. Debe ser respetuoso con el medio ambiente, debe ser equitativo, o sea, para todo el mundo igual. Todo el mundo debe tener la capacidad de acceder de una forma oportuna a los servicios de salud, se debe presentar de una forma eficiente, de una forma amorosa, porque los pacientes son personas, no son cosas. Entonces deben presentarse o deben darles la calidad y la eficiencia en la prestación de los servicios.
And at the core will be some values, which is compassion and kindness, dignity, respect, holistic care, and partnership and co-production, all would fit in with the Dunabedian model of the love that you have to have in order to get good quality. And surrounding all of that will be transparency in our care with building resilience and psychological safety for the people. Sylvia.
Okay. La atención a los pacientes para asegurar la calidad debe ser de una forma amable, compasiva, con dignidad, con respeto, de una forma holística y de una forma amorosa, para que sea de una forma asequible y oportuna.
So, how do we make this happen? So ISQua will need to, in the future, address the issues of equity in healthcare and how we can help people around the world ensure that there is, while there might be equal access, there's equity in provision. This is a major issue that we need to look at. I think it has not been the major one of the of the domains, but now in the next years, it's going to be very important. And we'll be working in this area. Sylvia?
Okay. Lo más importante en esta área que se está trabajando en ella es la igualdad en los servicios en salud. Todo el mundo tiene derecho a la calidad, a la excelente calidad en los servicios, independiente de las condiciones de los pacientes. Todo el mundo debe tener la misma calidad, repito, debe tener la misma calidad y la misma el mismo buen trato, independiente de sus condiciones.
Okay, so just one sec. I need to get back to the slideshow. Okay, the next one is climate change. Again, we in healthcare and ISQua will have to work on this, is look at how we can have sustainable healthcare in the future. And sustainability will need to be part of what we do going forward. And one of the lessons of the COVID epidemic is that we can do things differently, and sustainable healthcare is going to be an outcome we need to work to. Sylvia.
Ok. Se prevé que va a haber un aumento de la temperatura en el mundo de 4 grados. Van a aumentar las precipitaciones de lluvia y la intensidad de las mismas, igual que va a haber una serie de cambios en el clima que ahora no existe. Enfermedades como la malaria y el dengue, o sea, virus como la malaria y el dengue, pueden incrementar, ya que la humedad y la temperatura pueden aumentar en el futuro. Y la hambruna y la falta de agua puede aumentar porque la producción de comida se desestabilizará por los cambios de clima.
Okay, so the next step is that we'll need to move from a concentration on disease to a concentration of our resources on health. And this is a fundamental shift in the way we design healthcare, because most of healthcare is about managing disease. Rather, in the new world, we'll need to look at how we maintain health. And that is where universal health coverage will become very important for us to achieve. Sylvia.
Okay. En este momento es obviamente importante enfocarse en la enfermedad, pero también es muchísimo más importante que este punto, enfocarse en la enfermedad, es enfocarse en la salud, cómo permanecer saludables o cómo aumentar nuestra salud o mejorar nuestra salud.
We then will need to look at how we build resilience and psychological safety amongst the care providers. One of the lessons that we have learned in the COVID crisis is that our workforce needs to be protected, both physically as well as mentally. We in healthcare have not paid enough attention to the psychological safety of the workforce, of the doctors, the nurses, the allied professionals, and now is the time that we make this a priority in what we do if we want to have safe care. And this is where ISQua will concentrate as well. Sylvia.
No solamente la salud física es importante, también es muy, muy importante la salud mental y la salud emocional de las personas, y en eso también se está trabajando en mejorar y ayudar la salud emocional y la salud mental de los pacientes y de las personas que trabajan para los pacientes, el personal médico y el personal paraclínico.
And going back to the Donabedian concept of love in our work, I refer you to this idea of acts of kindness, both to ourselves as providers of healthcare and more particularly to the people who receive healthcare. We need to look at how we can infuse kindness in all that we do. And I refer this is from Mango Moments, which comes from a group in Belgium on small acts of kindness that make a big difference in healthcare. Sylvia.
Ok. El amor, la bondad, la ayuda y la generosidad pueden aumentar, esos actos pueden aumentar la calidad de los pacientes en esos casos. Y también es importante que la parte emocional aumente. Eso también puede ayudar a mejorar la parte o la salud física.
I've already mentioned that the concentration on health is important, and this is just to remind us that universal health coverage, one of the sustainable goals and one of the aims of the WHO, is going to be essential in the next decade. Sylvia?
Ok, hay algunas información básica. ¿Cómo pueda obtener ayuda a un trato de un trabajador de salud? ¿Cómo puedo conseguir tratamiento que me ayude a sentirme mejor y seguro? ¿Cómo puedo conseguir medicamentos y otra serie de productos para la salud que necesito, porque usted necesita? ¿Quién pagará por esto? Hay políticas en lugares que se pueda adquirir un servicio de salud para todo el mundo a cualquier hora, y el gobierno tiene información de las necesidades para tomar las decisiones correctas acerca del sistema.
We will need to use, I'm going to go a little quicker here. We're going to use data for improvements and for health, and we're going to have transparency in how we use the data. Sylvia?
Una de las cosas más importantes en el sistema de salud y en el sistema de calidad para atención en pacientes es la transparencia. ¿Qué quiere decir eso? Que no debe haber cosas ilegales ni que todo debe ser muy transparente.
And here I'm going to show you something from the Cief's model by Carrion and Holden, is how you translate the Donabedian idea of systems, processes, and outcomes into a human factors framework. And this, I think, is going to be a core of what we do as we develop safe systems. Sylvia?
Okay. Del sistema de salud hay una presentación de cómo la persona el emprendimiento interno, herramientas para colaborar con el profesional o el trabajo del profesional y del paciente, y la forma organizacional y cómo se adapta el enfoque de factores humanos en dicha situación. A nivel de largo o periodo largo, periodo corto, intermitente o regular, anticipado y no anticipado.
So we're going to have digital health and wellness rather than disease. We're going to use many different systems to achieve the digital health. We're going to look at different types of working telehealth will be one of the major changes that we have. And we're going to use all the social media we can to reach the people who need health. Sylvia?
Hay una serie de mecanismos para ayudar en la calidad y atención de los pacientes a nivel de la página web, de videoconferencias y otra serie de servicios que se están prestando.
So for us in ISQua, we also have accreditation. And if you ask what's the future of accreditation, it's going to change in that we will have to find digital and virtual solutions in this time when we can't travel. And that's what we're looking for right now. Sylvia?
En este momento se están haciendo o se están produciendo una serie de soluciones digitales y virtuales que nos permiten aprender y evaluar el servicio prestado y la calidad del servicio prestado a los pacientes. Se está trabajando en ello.
And future themes will be the same as I've mentioned, of equity, people-centered care, human factors, and climate change. Accreditation will have to take these into account. So, in summary, ISQua going forward, looking at the new age, will have to deal with equity, with justice, universal health coverage, how to digitalize health. We need to look at safety and human factors. We need to use data for improvements. We need to make sure that it's not disease-focused, but wellness and health. We need to provide kindness for all people. And we need to deal with the challenge of climate change. I think I don't need a translation because they're all here. We need to integrate this in all that we do. But the main problem will be resistance. People do not like change, but change has come to us uninvited. 3 months ago, we would never have dreamt of the position that we are now. Here in Dublin, we are opening up. Yeah, where you are, you might still not be opening or maybe opening up, but healthcare has changed. And unless we start changing, we will be left behind. And I'm reminded of a quote from Max Planck that a new scientific truth does not triumph by convincing its opponents. You see the light, but eventually the opponents die out and a new generation grows up that's familiar with it. We don't have the time for this. We now need to change, and I hope that I have shown you the way that ISQua will be looking at change in the future, and we need your support, and we will support you. I want to thank you very much, and just remind you our conference is in Florence, Firenze, in February next year. Thank you very much. Sylvia, you might want to translate.
Ok, una de las cosas para alcanzar los métodos de igualdad, de cariño, de amor por lo que uno hace para el cuidado de los pacientes, es que se va a tener una resistencia. Personas piensan que hace 3 meses pensaban que eso nunca iba a ocurrir y que en este momento está ocurriendo, que no hay tiempo para tomarse las cosas con calma que eso es un cambio que se tiene que hacer todo el mundo para salir bien de esta pandemia y que hay que empezarlo a hacer ya. No hay tiempo. Y la resistencia es uno de los problemas que tienen los profesionales en la salud. Entonces es algo que hay que hacerlo ya, no hay tiempo.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aquí entonces la primera pregunta nos llega desde Buenos Aires, Argentina, la doctora Alicia Jala, y dice: excelente exposición. ¿Qué estrategia sugiere para involucrar y aumentar la demanda de la población de calidad y seguridad en la atención?
Okay. The one doctor in Argentina asked you, which strategies do you suggest to keep the attention, the quality and attention of health? Which strategies, which points do you consider, or what do you think is better?
The most important one, well, for me, I really think that if I went back to my concept of kindness within healthcare, that means more than just kindness. You have to have respect for your patients, and therefore that will lead to your acts of good in terms of safety and quality. This is about culture, and we really need to say, why are we doing things and for what reason? And this is a personal, I think it has to start from the very early days in medical school. One has to look at the reasons we are in medicine and in healthcare. And for me, the most important thing now is our views and our attitudes, the processes, and that's where Donna Beedon was right. The processes and the systems are the easier bits. It's the attitudes and the culture that are the more important and more difficult parts.
Okay, thank you. Lo más importante es la actitud y la actitud en el cuidado del paciente. Lo que uno haga con amor y con amabilidad en este momento es primordial. Y es un cambio de cultura y es un cambio de forma de ver las cosas.
La siguiente pregunta nos llega desde Santiago de Chile, la Magister Lili Weiss, y dice: felicitaciones, doctor. Esta pandemia nos obliga a cambiar nuestra forma de atención. ¿Cree que esto llegó para quedarse? ¿Cómo seguimos potenciando a nuestros equipos?
Okay. Doctor, other doctor asked you, do you believe this pandemic should be here for the rest of our lives, or maybe could change? And what do you think is the best way to face the situation?
Oh, yes. So that's a great question because there's no real answer. But if you look at the
I can't hear you.
Okay, if you look at the history of healthcare, of humankind, we have pandemics every 10 to 15 years, epidemics. We have a pandemic like this every 100 years. The last big one was 100 years ago. So the concept of pandemic will be here. However, we will adapt to the change. That is the resilience of the human race, people. We adapt. And I can see the adaptation already. What will happen, I believe, is that over the next year, we'll start adapting our behaviors. And things will change, and eventually we'll get back to what we will call normal. What we need to ask is, what do we want that normal to be? That's the question. I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to answer? And then you continue now?
No, continue.
Okay. And
Continue. Did you finish?
I think we have a chance in healthcare to define the new normal of what we want. And that must include equity, universal health coverage, digitalization of health, new ways of doing things. We must not return to the way we did it before. Over to you. Sylvia.
Okay. Thank you. Tenemos que aprender a cuidarnos, pero no es la única que ha tenido el ser humano desde que se inició. Ha habido pandemias cada 100 años. Simplemente aprender a vivir teniendo los cuidados necesarios, normal, y que eso nos cree también un cambio de mentalidad y un cambio de hacer las cosas. Todos, porque somos todos.
La siguiente pregunta nos llega desde México. Dice, ¿cómo ve usted los procesos de calidad y seguridad del paciente en América Latina?
Okay. Doctor, how do you see the process and care and security in patients in Latin America? How do you see the process? It's good, it's better, which things we need to change, etc.
Okay. So first of all, Latin America is many countries. So each country is different. That's the first question. I think that where you are in some areas on my visits is that there are some very good examples of high quality, safe care. But the continent is very big and the variation is very large. I do believe that the solutions for Latin America are in Latin America, not in other countries like the USA or in Europe. That you have very good examples in Latin America that you can share amongst yourselves in order to have safety of healthcare for all. So there are many good examples that I have seen, whether it be in Argentina, Colombia, Chile, and Brazil, those countries I visited last year and hope to visit again. I have seen excellent healthcare that you can teach each other, and that is what I recommend.
Thank you. Okay. América Latina está compuesto por muchos países. Generalizar es muy difícil, pero se puede decir que estamos en un proceso bueno, que se está empezando a mejorar el proceso que existía antes, que Chile, Argentina, Colombia y Brasil están incrementando ese proceso de calidad y mejoramiento en la atención de los pacientes. pero que es un proceso que no se ha terminado y que puede y se está incrementando.
La siguiente pregunta nos llega desde Ecuador. Y dice, doctor, excelente su ponencia, muchas gracias. Y pregunta, ¿cuándo volveremos a ver una conferencia de ISQua en Latinoamérica?
Okay. Doctor, this question said first, it is an excellent conference. Thank you very much. A second one, when we can have another conference in Latin America? When do you think?
Oh, I can tell you exactly when. It is agreed to have it in 2024 in Buenos Aires, in Sao Paulo. So that has been agreed already. So in the next one will be in 2024 in Sao Paulo.
Okay, thank you. No está seguro, pero la próxima se tiene calculada que sea en Sao Paulo en el 2024.
Y vamos rápidamente con otra pregunta. Llega desde Perú. Dice, excelente doctor, felicitaciones, muy buena su ponencia. Y pregunta, ¿cómo podemos participar de las conferencias y actividades de ISQua en América Latina?
Okay. Doctor, thank you very much. The conference, everybody says, is excellent. How can we in Latin America get the conference about ISQua here in America Latina? Do you have a page? Do you have a web page? How can we do it to get information, to get a conference of what here in America Latina?
We will let you know on the conference. We've only just started. We awarded the conference to Sao Paulo earlier this year. So it's still early days. It's 3 more years before we get there. So the planning will start soon, most probably next year. However, what we plan to do in Latin America before then is have regional conferences. We had last year a regional conference in Colombia and a sub-regional conference in Buenos Aires, and I went also to Santiago de Chile. This year, we had 3 canceled events in Latin America because of the COVID. So next year we'll have a regional conference in Cali in Colombia, and that will be held in April. And we can send details if they want to contact me. It'll be in April next year, and 3 ISQua experts will be at that conference. Stolpa Franco is going to be doing the organizations in Cali. So that's next April. That's the next one we're going to have. We'll also be supporting conferences in Buenos Aires, but virtual. But the face-to-face, hopefully next April in Cali.
Okay, but do you have a web to check there?
So you can what we can do is on the ISQua website. We'll have it all on the ISQua website. Yes.
Do you have the website? Please, could you give me?
It's www.isqua.org.
Hold on, please. www.
ISQua, ISQua.org. Yeah, I'll send it to you in the panel.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, I will translate the information, okay? Thank you very much. Okay, la más cercana conferencia va a ser en abril, el año entrante, en Cali. Todavía no tienen las fechas, él las mandará más adelante. Y va a haber una por la web en Buenos Aires también el año entrante. y me va a mandar la información de la web. Es www.is.qua.org. Esa es la página web donde uno puede encontrar la información completa.
Bueno, vamos con la última pregunta para no abusar pues mucho del tiempo del doctor Peter. Esta pregunta viene desde de la doctora Sofía Hinojosa, desde Beris, Ecuador, y dice: doctor Peter, excelente su ponencia. ¿Usted considera que el factor humano influirá positivamente en un cambio de mentalidad para asegurar mejoras en los sistemas de gestión de calidad del paciente después de la pandemia?
Okay. Doctor, other question. Do you think the human resources could have an important place in the healthcare quality? I mean, the human resource, do you think is one of the most important resources that we have?
Yeah, yes, the people who provide healthcare, the human resources, is very important. What we have learned from the pandemic is that we need to be able to work together as a team, and that the traditional role of doctor versus nurse might change as many people had to take on different roles. So what we need to do is value the human resource. And that's when I talk about psychological safety, is we need to make it safe for them to do their job. And I think that is an area that we haven't really looked at very well. And now in the next age, that's where we need to look. So yes, I agree. Human resources are vital for healthcare.
Okay. El doctor dice que sí, que el factor humano es muy, muy importante en esta pandemia, en lo que se está viniendo, les está viniendo y en lo que vendrá. Pero que es más importante el trabajo en equipo y la salud emocional del trabajo en equipo para poder dar una calidad en el servicio en salud. Pero que sí, indiscutiblemente el factor humano es importante, pero el trabajo en equipo es muchísimo más importante porque es un trabajo en equipo, no un trabajo individual que se está haciendo.
Dr. Lachman, thank you very much. Excellent news for a possible conference in Sao Paulo. Thank you. We are very.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed being with you, and thank you to everyone. And I want to thank Sylvia for her wonderful translation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Hugo. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Again, thanks. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Doctor. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Bye. I'll see you again.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lachman. Your company in Congress has been an honor, and many thanks to the ISQua International Quality Society for their support and accompaniment.